Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode at the B2B Outbound Marketing and Sales Automation. For today, we have another guest. We have Steven Cotter on the call. He's from UK and head of growth at Zopta.com. Steven, welcome.
Thank you very much, Sancho.
How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. We're about a week away from Christmas now, so
everybody are in the Christmas mood now. And
yeah.
to start things with a bit more easy questions, my first thought was like, okay, who is Steven first? Because I want my audience to start recognizing you.
Yeah, it's a good question. So I'm normally a behind the scenes type of person. Face for the radio, as they normally say. And my background was in cybersecurity. And what I found really interesting with cybersecurity and marketing is with cybersecurity, you're hacking people, you're hacking systems. And with marketing, it's essentially a very similar type of process. We're hacking things, people build systems, and we tear them down. So my background is in cybersecurity. I used to sell to IT security managers, which are probably the toughest people to sell to in the world. You can imagine cold calling an IT person. Where did you get my number from? I don't talk about security on the phone.
Yeah, introvert people not really comfortable discussing about.
Yeah, and what I found really interesting from selling cybersecurity was breaking down those people. So, as an example, with an IT security manager, you would go into the call saying, as an example, hey, I know you don't want to talk about security, but just to let you know, this is what some of your competitors are doing around security. And it's just that psychological trick. And I think that really bodes well in marketing, in the fact that you're doing the same thing. You're finding these ways to change the dynamic. So yeah.
So it could actually be, I'm a cybersecurity expert and marketing hacking people's psychology in order to what? Force them to do something or realize that they need something at the end of the day.
Yeah, I used to do, this is quite funny, I used to do social engineering, which is I used to break, people used to pay me to break into their company and find their weaknesses. And essentially marketing is a very similar type of thing, because what you're doing is you go into the receptionist, you're putting on a sort of face and saying, hey, this is me, I'm trustworthy. And it's almost like, changing the mold. So it's similar to marketing in the way that we're trying to psychologically exploit these types of these areas with people, these weaknesses. And I think now people are becoming very self-aware of good marketing as well. They're becoming, I get a lot of people saying, I love that email you sent me, 10 out of 10 for the effort, 10 out of 10 for the...
Yeah, exactly what I wanted to add. In cybersecurity, you're breaching in order to steal something or take something away. In marketing, you're reaching to start building relationship with people. So that's the only difference. Maybe the steps are similar, but the end is a bit different.
Yeah, it's all about the crown jewels. What are you looking for and how do you get them? And people become desensitized, don't they, to the same types of approaches time and time again.
Nice. And Steven, I saw that you're currently head of growth at Zopta.com.
Yes.
So what inspired you and what is actually a head of growth?
I don't know. I'm involved in pretty much everything. So it's a fantastic role, but head of growth is somebody who really looks at the organization. We want to grow through a number of different ways. So you can imagine we've got people that aren't customers yet of Zopta. We want to make them a customer. So we've got to find ways to attract them. We've got to make our proposition valuable. We've got customers who spend a lot of money with us. We want to make sure that they are happy. They see the value within the product. So yeah, I do the strategic partnerships. So we speak to a lot of organizations. We do the integrations. We actually launched an integration yesterday with a company called LeadWorks. If you don't know what LeadWorks do, this is cool. And this is maybe a good time to speak about this, because what LeadWorks do is they have a database, an IP database. So the one thing that every single person has on the internet is an IP address. And what they do is they match that IP address to a company. And then what we've done now with Zopto is we've integrated LeadWorks and Zopto. So you can reach out to
information from them through
yeah. Hey John, I saw you on our website earlier today. it becomes creepy, almost too creepy, but still good. So there's a lot involved in growth marketing, growth hacking, partnerships, and everything in between essentially as well.
Even for me, it's creepy when I visit your website and I just got an SMS. I'm in front of your door. That's creepy. And I'll be scared.
Yeah.
But
And outside, that's true.
Sounds quite interesting because the growth is not just acquiring an acquisition of new client, but it's actually figuring out how to maintain the existing one and actually drive new channels of retention. Okay, I think that we actually need a head of growth in BSB solution as well. The way you put it, I think we need one person like that as well.
Yeah, you need a weird person who thinks weirdly and thinks, how do we do these things in a separate way? Quite funnily, I'm just working on a Zap actually about an hour before. Trying to these website visitors that we're getting on our website. We can now use Zopto to send AI videos to them. So I'm trying to get Santa Claus as an AI, as a video. It's a company called Synthesia, and then you put in text. So if somebody visits our website, we connect with them on LinkedIn. They then get sent a welcome message from Santa, saying, "Hey, Happy Christmas." So yeah, going a bit crazy.
Nice. No, but this is really useful because you're figuring out ways how to do it. And as you said, it's hard to define the role, but when you specialize in that part, you start thinking beyond the box in terms of how you can actually reach more people.
Yeah.
And moving the conversation toward the Zopto, I mean, nowadays there's so many automations and marketing and sales and LinkedIn and other parts, and it is an ecosystem. So just wanted to ask you, how is Zopto fitting in the big ecosystem? Is there other tools that are needed before Zopto, or there are other tools that needs to be used after Zopto? So where is Zopto in the ecosystem of automation?
I mean, we're one of the main players. We've been around one of the longest times. Our solution as well is completely cloud-based. So, we differentiate ourselves from these Chrome extensions. I think these Chrome extensions do a good job, but, if you are very serious about LinkedIn, what can happen is, you become dependent on that. You have to use this Chrome extension all the time. You have to be online. When we're talking right now, Dancho, you're not going to be able to use it. So it's lost time. I'm using my Zopto campaign right now, completely cloud-based, offline, to message these people. And I think where we've really found our success model is, or why people flock to Zopto, is because if you've got, you mentioned yourself, you're an agency, you've got customers, you want to make sure that they're happy. You need to invest in a solution that's going to be up and it's going to do a good job. Secondly, it's the support that we offer as well. So I found that there are a lot of automation tools, but what really goes into the messaging? Why are we automating these messages? Who's told you these are good? Have we measured these messages? Because people send, people download a Chrome extension, they send a huge block of text, and you can't really measure. You've got no analytics or no statistics on that block of text as well. It's just, oh, this is working because it's going out. But working is success. So we've got really detailed analytics with Zopto on which campaigns are working. And we've just obviously got the API stuff as well. So we're getting weird with the types of integrations that we can do. There's no limitations as to what we're thinking about.
Nice. And when I'm looking usually at automation, how currently are being abused even by the people, is like spamming, just sending too many pitches, like here are 5 attachments and case studies and PDFs and all the other stuff. While on the other hand, I mean, we as an agency, what we preach is that relationship is king. You can use the automation at the high level of the funnel in order to get the conversation starter, but then you really need to start talking with people rather than, pull the plug and everything to be fully automated and just meetings start coming out at the bottom.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time it's very similar to this isn't new. People have been sending the same emails, and it's like, if you were to meet somebody, the way I see LinkedIn automation is, if you were to meet somebody, like we're speaking now, and this is maybe a bad example because this is technically a podcast conversation, but if I was to meet somebody outside and they said, "Hey, Stephen," and I said, hey John, my name's Stephen. I work for this company. I do this. This is what I do. And there's no back and forth. Then it becomes a loss. And I mean, we're doing a 12 days of Christmas tips, and I think one of the marketing team, they posted how would you like to be spoken to? Why would you share this if you wouldn't like receiving this? And that's really key, having that self-awareness of which campaigns are working, which campaigns aren't,
Yes.
what's in it for the customer, what's in it for the prospect.
It's funny, Steven. We have here internal joke is that when you're approaching on LinkedIn, it's like going on a bar, meeting a girl. So you're not just gonna go to the first girl and, hi, would you marry me? No. Okay. Going to the next one. Hi, would you like to marry me? No. Okay. You just need to start chit-chatting a bit, start a bit of a relationship and conversation. And if you get some positive feedback, then you can deepen a bit the relationship. So it is an internal joke, but when you said, as you're meeting someone from outside, hi, my name is Dancho, we do this and this, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, or here is a PDF, here is a flyer or a leaflet, or here is my business card, and here is something else. And they're like, I didn't ask for any of this. Wait.
Exactly.
And it's silly, but that is how currently things are outside the world with all the spamming. It's not just in LinkedIn, it's also in email. But that actually makes the difference between properly using the automation and just blasting with pitches around the LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's weird how people have got a lot smarter with email, but I feel like because LinkedIn is quite a new area, social selling requires almost a little bit more delicate in certain areas as well. And with email, people are getting quite smart. There's a lot of companies out there that are doing very cool things with email. But I think with LinkedIn, one of the main fallbacks is people sort of not really being self-aware of those messages. And I think that's why, at Zopta, we have that analytic stage, so you can see how many people have responded, how many people have replied, which campaign's working. I've done this as well, Dancho. When I used an automation tool about 4 years ago. Hope that's not blasphemous to my current company. But I just went crazy with it. I was like, hey, and I sent out 1,000 messages.
Yeah.
Did it work?
The quantity approach.
Yeah.
A lot with 0.00 something result, it's still something.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's an art, and I think people need to sort of use what worked and what hasn't worked. They always need to test and A/B test what is working, what isn't working, rather than it didn't work for me. And it's like, well, you only tried one approach.
Exactly. And that's actually probably a good idea with, as you said, based on the reporting that you get, then you can start thinking about optimization of the campaign, whether you need to tweak your profile, whether you need to tweak the messages, or whether you need to tweak even the target. If they're not responding to that message, maybe you're looking at the wrong people.
Exactly. And people do it in a slightly odd way. They message people and they sort of give up after 2 weeks if they get a few no's. And I think the idea is just not to give up, is to learn from that.
Exactly. I think that we are all excited to see behind the curtains of Zopto. So perhaps, Steven, you can show us how it works, what kind of magic we can do with this Zopto automation.
Yeah, of course. So I'll share my screen with you. I'm one of those people that has a lot of tabs open at any given time. So apologies.
I know the feeling. I'm not that kind of guy. I really have 1 or 2 tabs, but believe me, a few of my colleagues like 50, 70 tabs at once, and I'm so confused at looking at that.
Yeah. It gets. I think it's about 3 p.m. is my optimum tab heavy time, where I've got about 55 tabs open. So yeah, not too bad with only 4 at the moment. And a big shout out to you guys as well. So this is the Zopto portal. I use my account now for really just sort of testing and measuring.
Yeah.
Now with Zopto, you get a very clean dashboard, so you can see what's working, the activity levels that you've got here. You're able to set specific campaigns as well. So yeah, I mean, there's a whole heap of information in the initial dashboard. What you can see here is, I've had 102 acceptance in the last week or so, and we've got 32 replies. Setting up a campaign is quite cool. So we can trigger a campaign through a number of different actions. The first action is just using Sales Navigator. So I was speaking to somebody yesterday actually, and they didn't know this. You can actually search and use Sales Navigator for, I think they were releasing a chatbot. And they said to me, how would you use it? And I said, well, if you're looking at chatbots, why don't you find the technology that they use? So if you're trying to sell a chatbot, what you can do is if you type in intercom, you know that these people are using intercom as a chatbot. You know, if you want to pitch them. So again, we're using that presumed logic. So what we can do is we can view the current employees of these organizations using intercom. We can then find, you know, if you're speaking to a smaller marketing agency, I won't go into the whole LinkedIn, you know, how to use LinkedIn.
LinkedIn has very nice filters that you can use to really niche out to the ideal. Whether you're using booleans within the keywords or within the titles, it really is worth the value for the money for paying Sales Navigator.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, we can type in CEO and attach and append certain strings. So this is one way to kick off a campaign with Zopto. We've got 221 results in this campaign, and we can just simply paste in the URL here, completely cloud-based. So once I do this, this will happen offline, and you can start your campaigns. Now, we can also kick off a campaign via profile links. So our solution accepts both types of links rather than having a Sales Navigator and a LinkedIn. Yeah,
so it accepts both the normal LinkedIn URLs and the Sales Navigator because they're really different when you're copy pasting them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, rather than spending 2 hours, the whole point of automation is to make things quicker. And if you have to spend 2 hours separating LinkedIn URLs and converting URLs,
exactly,
it's not really automation. You're just doing a manual job. So you can paste all types of links in here. You can upload a CSV as well. So as an example, you know, if you've got a lot of data and you can attribute that data. So something that we did recently is Udemy. You know, Udemy, a lot of people have their LinkedIn URLs on their Udemy page. There's a few Chrome extensions that will do a good job of getting that LinkedIn URL. And we can attribute the course name, the Udemy course name to that person. So, hey, John, you know, I saw your course on Udemy. And again, that is going to bolster the way that you can start a campaign. We do have an API available as well. So what this allows you to do is start campaigns outside of the Zopto platform. So I'm going to show, as an example, LeadWorks is the company that we've just recently integrated with. You'll be able to log into. Well, I'll just quickly log into LeadWorks, and I'll show you how this would work. So you can see these are some of the organizations that have been on our website over the last few days. And what we can do is if we click on the people section, you might have to blur some of these names because they'll probably be customers soon. So once the people section loads, what you can actually do is you can unlock them using LeadWorks. So we do have a coupon code, I think, with LeadWorks at the moment as well.
Nice.
Just waiting for this to load.
Yeah. And so when you have a CSV import, you can actually use Zopto maybe to export from your CRM all the leads that you have LinkedIn profile, and then you can just put it on the import option.
I do that so frequently with people that we've done. So we've, you know, when we do demos with people, we get a lot of, I mean, we're very lucky as an organization, we get, you know, a lot of inbound traffic. And, you know, what we don't sometimes do as a LinkedIn company or as a LinkedIn automation tool is we don't sometimes outreach to people on LinkedIn, we stick it on email. So I found massive success just using HubSpot, and they have a direct integration with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You can actually build lists directly from HubSpot. So to maybe give you a use case, you know, if you've done 40 demos in 1 week, you can build that list using HubSpot.
Create campaign directly to those 40 people.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, hey, John, I've seen that this and that, you know, I've seen that you've been able to do this. And yeah, there's a lot that you can, do with HubSpot. I think Salesforce have an integration as well where you can build these lists. Just going on. Oh, sorry, I clicked on the wrong website here. So if we click on Bant, we click on people, hopefully we should be able to see a few people load. And the idea is that you can actually build campaigns outside of Zopto. So you simply go to LeadWorks, you click on the Zopto integration, and this campaign, you know, this website visitors campaign, this is live. So anybody who visits our website automatically gets, I think, an invitation from me directly, just saying, hey, you know, hey John, hey Mike. Really cool stuff. We've also got, this is quite cool. So what we can do is we've got the ability to have custom fields within the Zopto platform. And what you can do is you can actually put additional data into Zopto using using these custom fields tab. So what I've been doing, and this is a really cool campaign if anybody is listening, is we can maybe put some information. We can get this campaign ID. We can start a campaign in Zapier, and we can actually put information in to Zopto. And to give you an example, Dancho, of what I've been doing is I deleted all my campaigns actually yesterday to do a bit of tidying up. But I've been enriching that information. So let's say, I connect with you on LinkedIn, I get your domain. Now, if I enrich this domain, I can get your registered address. So I can put that registered address back into the Zopto portal, and we can run like a pizza campaign. So I can say, hey, Dancho, I saw that you're based, XYZ at the moment. Would you be up for a virtual pizza? Is this still your address? And we can actually enrich that information using Zopto as well.
I see. So the logic there is, Stephen, that in addition to the existing fields that LinkedIn allows, a normal to use name, surname, position as a customization, you can add completely new fields in Zopto that can be used during the outreach.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's an amazing way to become that type of those campaigns.
The more personalized the outreach, the better the engagement and the response rate. Because if I feel like very general message, it will be less engaging for me rather than the more personalized that actually someone saw that we are in Skopje, Macedonia, and included in the message.
Absolutely, yeah, nail on the head. What we also do, which is quite cool, so we have the standard setup with Zopto. You can run your campaigns very simply. You can automate a number of actions. We've got cool number of features. We've got this auto scale option as well. So with email as an example, you can't send 1 million emails in one day. You normally have to warm up your account. So we've got these auto scale, these randomization options as well. You have full control over your account, and again, because it's completely cloud based, we don't have to be online. So once we've set up these campaigns to run, we can wait 12 days. We can then have example invite 1, and then we can have example invite 2 as well. So we can actually schedule all of these messages to go out. And because we're logged in through the Zopto portal, I can shut down this campaign. I can shut down my tabs, and this will just run in the background. And when somebody does reply, we get all of the messages directly into the inbox folder, and it's a smart inbox as well. I don't know about you, but have you ever been sort of lost with Sales Navigator's inboxes? Do you ever lose messages because it's almost like confusing to sort of understand, I guess?
All the time. You need to go into the regular inbox in LinkedIn, then you need to go to the Sales Navigator inbox, and then who answered what and where. It is quite confusing, honestly.
Yeah. So what we do is both of these messages come directly into the inbox here, and we can then label these inboxes, these messages accordingly. So strategic partnerships, what I then do is I can export this information. I can export this inbox, and then I can either pass that to somebody, a lead, somebody internally, maybe the sales team. And one of the most powerful features of Zopto is the ability to white label it. So because essentially we are a cloud-based solution, a lot of agencies use Zopto in order to manage their customers' LinkedIn accounts. So this would be completely white labeled, the URL. It's not going to say Zopto. You can start to include things like chatbots in the actual platform as well, so you can speak to your agency customers. So this done for you service, this element here, becomes really exciting. So we've got some custom JavaScript in the platform. We've got an API key, so you can start managing campaigns outside of the platform.
It can be fully customized.
Yes, fully customized, and very simple to manage. If I just want to go into my colleague, let's look at Brad's campaigns. If he ever goes on holiday for a week, he doesn't need to stop his campaigns. We can just see what's going on. So it looks like at the moment he's been quite busy on Zopto. You can see that he's got a lot of sequences going out, a lot of invitations, and it can be fully customized and fully white labeled.
I see. So it is quite a comprehensive tool. From setting up campaigns to scheduling, putting few things on autopilot. I saw look at other profiles and do some automated engagement just to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah,
And this
absolutely.
is all done from the cloud. It means that you just log in, you let it run, and then check it out from time to time in case someone is interested to get in a deepened conversation.
Yeah, that's that's SOC 2 in a nutshell. We're a comprehensive tool. We do everything, and this is quite a powerful tool as well. We have the ability to customize different names, and these custom variables as well. So if I've met Bill at an event, I can call this one event one or whatever.
Yeah,
And
where
what we
did you got him? So it is like a CRM for all the leads that
yeah,
are engaged in the campaign, or that are all your LinkedIn friends?
well, you can run campaigns to your first degree connections. You can run campaigns to new sources of data that you've acquired. It's very customizable in the way that it all comes together. And because it's completely cloud based, that's the real value add. We are
Yeah.
running right now. When I'm on this call with you right now, Dancho, I'm running my campaigns. There's no time lost. There's no desktop application. We're just completely cloud based at the moment.
Yeah, no, it sounds very, very interesting, because from here you can actually take care of the entire LinkedIn outreach.
Yeah, exactly. We have this Twitter module as well. We're constantly releasing new features, so you'll be able to see. We have a feature suggestions tab that our customers regularly update with, their ideas. They inspire us from our development side of things. And we just want to create this unbelievably easy yet powerful experience for our customers as well. LinkedIn, is a gold mine for lead generation. But if you do it wrong, you can also blow up the gold mine and not get any gold from it. So, what we want to do is be very careful and very thought out and effective with our messaging. I think, we've developed a tool around that. Zops are becoming a central point of your lead generation. This is way more effective than cold calling. I've done cold calling,
Definitely.
more scalable. And it's weird, that a lot of businesses aren't really thinking about LinkedIn. Still, I mean, it's very popular, but even bigger organizations should be using this if the audience is obviously on LinkedIn.
Yeah, honestly, we as an agency, we've never opted into telecalling and cold calling. It is something that I'm not really in favor when someone is just calling me in the middle of nowhere. And with LinkedIn and email, it's a bit more comfortable because you can answer at your convenience. And of course, if it is a spam, it's still a spam. But if someone is reaching out and trying to give some value or trying to ask a question, yeah, I would rather have an email and I can answer at 3 a.m. or whenever I'm actually checking out my email, rather than when the phone actually rings.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's a good tool that we've got. We've got some big plans for 2021 anyway.
Yeah, well, I had a question at that, but I had one before that, because
Yeah.
our current audience are high ticket service providers, and when we're talking about high ticket, we're talking about consultants, we're talking about software development companies, SaaS, marketing agencies, sales agencies, and these kind of companies are not like 500 employees or 1,000 employees that they can actually afford an SDR team to work for them like 20, 30. And that's why we actually showcase this kind of marketing and sales automation. So I was curious, because in high ticket service providing, there are a bit more expensive services, how they can actually use Zopto in order to not have 30 people as an SDR team, but as a one-man show or as a small team, how they can actually use Zopto to gather more clients.
Yeah, I mean, these high-ticket organizations, it's an easy return on investment, isn't it? You get one customer from LinkedIn, and you've paid for the platform for a year or two. So what we try and do is we try and mitigate that whole spam approach. If we are speaking to high-ticket customers, we understand them. So this is why we have a consultative call with an account manager. Every Zopto customer, regardless of the plan, gets a one-to-one call for setup optimization as well. And we really understand exactly what the customer is looking for. Hi, Mr. Customer, why did you choose LinkedIn? Oh, we've seen success from LinkedIn. Okay, what did you see with your success? What did you learn from that? How do we approach this? And we do give that sort of one-to-one consultative approach with pretty much all of our customers.
Nice. So you actually have an onboarding process that you can help them navigate. I mean, when you're trying a new software, they're always, okay, what's this now and what I'm supposed to do here. But yeah, you have that covered as well.
Yeah, I think the average company uses around 50 different types of software. You can imagine the investment learning a new one. And I'd like to think I'm quite technical, but there's tools that, I was playing around with a new tool last night. That time is time. If I'm getting paid money and I have to spend time learning, the business is losing money as well. So, that your approach as well as doing that for customers is highly valuable as well, because not only do they probably get better results because you've got that experience, but also they don't have to sink 3 hours learning in, a new solution.
Yeah. I mean, our value proposition is that on our website we even have 6 or 7 ebooks that if you want to do it yourself, we give the knowledge for free. We have an ebook on how to find your ideal clients, how to build a database, how to create even outreach messages, which is completely different to the inbound messaging, even how to use automation and how to even nurture the people that start responding. So at the end of the day, the value is the expertise of working with more than 300 different clients and have internal benchmarks in what is good, what is bad, and knowing how to optimize the campaign. Yeah. And it is really useful to have this kind of conversation, because the more people, the more high ticket service providers realize what is the potential with this kind of marketing and sales automation, the faster they can grow. I mean, I give you an example that if you have a consultant, and usually consultants it's a one person or it has an assistant that helps, and they cannot really afford going cold outreach, cold emailing, cold LinkedIn manually. So the automation is the only way forward in these kind of scenarios.
Yeah. I think it's a real shame that LinkedIn don't have something to help you with the automation themselves. I've actually done it. I timed myself adding, connecting, messaging people, and I was just, by the end of it, I was tearing my hair out. So yeah, it surprises me, and that's why a lot of automation tools exist, because they're just so convenient compared to the other option. And I think LinkedIn might need to look at that model and say, well, why are so many people going to automation? Why are so many people drawn to automation? Because it's easier. So because there's obviously a UX problem, or there's a user problem with doing it manually. So it's a funny one. It's a funny old world. But
the logic behind automation is to replace repetitive work, which means that if someone needs to manually click a button, automation is doing it for it. And Stephen, on another topic, we're also working with marketing and sales agencies, and I saw that you have several partnership opportunities on your website. So maybe you've already mentioned that you have the white label, so you can tell us a bit more about how that works.
Yeah, so white label organizations can have their own version of Zopto within around 48 hours. So a lot of people we've had, this is going this year, particularly with the pandemic. So we've had a lot of people who are out of work. They've wanted them to think, that's been the motivation for them to start their own agency. They buy a license as Zopto. They then reach out to people. They get 2 customers using a small plan. And then they become an agency and they white label Zopto. And there's a lot of organizations that do become very dependent on our infrastructure because of the white label. It's business critical to them. That Zopto is business critical to them. We also do have that affiliate program. So organizations do get referrals. So we do work with a number of high ticket consultants who have Zopto in the course, how to use Zopto, who refer Zopto. And they make quite a lot of money.
So they're even delivering training, and at the end, well, here is my affiliate link if you want to start using Zopto.
Yeah, I mean, some of our biggest affiliates have 50 accounts they brought over because they're big influencers in what they do, and because they know what they're doing. So these guys are pros. They have hundreds of people that go to them for lead generation, and they do deliver. They say, this is how I got to where I was. So yeah, we do have a lot of organizations. I think we pay a lot in our affiliate scheme. I look at the numbers sometimes. I think I could be an affiliate or a white label. But I think we also do have the white label, the affiliate scheme, and I think we are looking at other ways as well to expand. The technical integrations is something I'm quite big on.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to add with you. It's not partnership just in the white label and the affiliate, but you're also partnerships in integration with many other either automations or complementary tools that you can complement each other through the API.
Yeah, it's a fun job. Spending a lot of time thinking what works, what doesn't work. So we use, I've just started using Clearbit, which is a big enrichment company. So we can get people's addresses, we can get their phone numbers, put it into a custom field in LinkedIn. Who would say no to a pizza campaign? Hey, Dancho, I can get some pizza delivered. Is your address still this? And this smart automation really sort of breaks the mold. And I think that's what we want to do. So I think at the moment, we want to become predictive. We want to almost have these patterns that we can see, and we're going to probably start to feed that back to our customers as well, because it's quite valuable that they understand what works for their competitor as well, so they get a fair chance. And it's an interesting proposition anyway.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. And that was actually my second question, because when we are discussing what is the future of Zopto and where are you headed in 2021, during your demo, you showed me you have a feature request where people are actually asking for features and functionality. And on the other hand, you have the integrations where you first test it for yourself. And if you like it, then you add that integration under the Zopto umbrella. But aside of that, what is the general direction where you see, as a head of growth, you have to have a high level overview strategic in terms of where is Zopto headed and what is actually the future or hopes for 2021?
The future of Zopto will be that Zopto, this is being recorded, so you're going to play this back at the end of next year.
I'll check out at the end of 2021. It's like, hi, Steven, you made a bold statement that...
Yeah, I'm sure it's been a while. I think Zopto will be a fundamental part of most businesses. The idea is that we see organizations who spend $5,000, $6,000 a month on PPC. They pay Google. It's a very competitive market. The cost per acquisition is very high. You have to pay $200, $300 for one lead. And is that lead good quality? Have you qualified them? And I think, we're talking more about, what Zopto actually is. We are thinking of, being that, how do we make Zopto the central point for most organizations? Because cold calling, it's not dead, but it's not as popular as LinkedIn. Emails dying. There's so many emails. I get about 200, 300 emails a day. I love getting cold emails, by the way. And I think that's it. The key here is these automation tools are only going to get bigger and they're only going to get smarter. So Zopto, I see it being as important as the CRM system, if not, hopefully a CRM system in the near future.
I see. So you've tried PPC, you're seeing in B2B world is not really working. And if you ask me also with Facebook ads, especially in high ticket service providers, when it comes to more expensive solution, it's not like you can put an ad 20,000 euros by here. It's more, you need people to start noticing you. You start reaching out to people, build relationship. Because if I need to spend 20 or 50,000 euros, I'll start thinking who I know in my network that actually can help me rather than put a job ad, and start reaching out to LinkedIn. Yeah, you're going to start getting meetings and appointments and hopefully clients. But on the other hand, you're actually broadening your area of focus, because you get more people in your profile, you're growing your network. So even then you can even start doing some posting on LinkedIn and thought-provoking thoughts, and start positioning yourself as a total authority rather than just, as I said before, start spamming people just would you buy.
I think I nail on the head. And I think this LinkedIn has a huge piece for not just cold business as well. Upselling through LinkedIn, webinars through LinkedIn, promotions through LinkedIn. I do see it being so imperative in the future. And if you send 100 messages over email asking you to join a WebEx, not many people will even see it. You do it on LinkedIn and you'll find that those results are 10, 20 times sometimes better than doing it on cold emails. So it's it's going to change the world. It's just, you know, we want to ride that wave of.
You want to catch the first wave because there will be a lot of followers, so you want to be the first.
Yeah, I want Zopto to be, you know, when a head of growth goes to a company and says, right, are we doing anything on LinkedIn? They go, we need to get Zopto in here. Before they even say HubSpot, Salesforce, they go, right, you know, Zopto. That's my dream. So I'm very biased towards the company I work for. But I think, you know, why not? Why not dream that big? It's proven to be successful. Zopto started using Zopto, you know, when we've got a lot of business through our own product. It works.
Using your services, I mean, of course, we currently have 5 LinkedIn profiles in Bisbee that we are using for LinkedIn outreach. And it's funny when we get on a call on a client from LinkedIn, and he's like, well, whether LinkedIn will work, well, whether this process or framework that you're using, I can trust. And then I usually finish with the simple question, well, you're here on the call, right? So I was actually in your sequence, and that moment, and the moment I get that, it's like, okay, I understand this works because I'm here talking to you, Dancho, and I'm just like saying, so how are you? How did you got here? And I'm just silence, waiting for him to digest, process, and said, so actually you use the automation, then you put the nurturing part, and now I'm here on a call.
Yeah. I don't know if it works, Mr. Customer. Well, how did we get you? You know, how did we acquire you? I love that. I think that is possibly, and I've worked in sales for a long time, the best objection handle I've ever heard from anybody.
But it works like magic. It's like
there's literally nothing that person can say as well. Like, you know, it worked for me. You know, like there's nothing that that person can almost come back with. I got in a meeting with a decision maker using this process. You're the person in the meeting. What can they say to that? Nothing. I don't think.
It works like magic. Well, Steven, we have to move toward close. I mean, thank you very much for participating on this episode. I loved hearing all about Zopto. I mean, even sneak peeking behind the curtains and how it works. I'm sure that all the listeners here would be interested to have a look at it. A side question, is there any free trial or something that people, you know, can just come in, try to play a bit to see if it works for them?
Yeah, we can offer, you know, 3-day trials. What we found is that trials are a good way to experience the product, but we tried it with, I think we did a 14-day trial, and it's not because people didn't love it. It's just that they signed up for 14 days and they never, you know, they've never signed into, think, I've got 14 days to do it. So we found that 3 days is the optimum trial time for us.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's a day. My point was that something that I can put below this video. Where
we'll give you a coupon code. We'll give you a link. We'll do whatever you want, Dancho.
I mean, okay, coupon could also work, but my point was that people can say, okay, I saw the video. This sounds interesting. I would give it a try. Click the link, go on Zopto, have a dry run, 1 day, 2 days. They can see what kind of invitation or response they get. And then if they want, they can choose one of the pricing models that you have and take it from there.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll sort it out.
Perfect. Steven, thank you very much again for coming to this show. It was a pleasure meeting you, and we'll cheering for Zopto to become the most famous.
Cheers, Dancho. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.